Hi, everyone. My name is Shazia Imam. I live in Dallas, Texas, and I am a life coach, a transformational life coach, and the host of the podcast Feminine and Fulfilled. It's a long-standing podcast I've had now for 4+ years. And Denise, thank you for coming on as well. And my archetypes are Maverick, Ruler, and Accumulator. And I've noticed I cycle between the three. They're all very, very close together, very strong. But my Maverick it is me, like through and through. And my accumulator sometimes likes to be like, you can't do that. But my Maverick is bold and loves to do stuff and take big risks. So I'm really excited about our conversation today.
Okay, thank you so much for your beautiful introductions. And what I would love to go straight into, right? We're just going to jump straight into sabotages. So think pre-SMA, before you knew that you were a maverick or you're an alchemist or the other archetypes. Where was that sabotaging you? So yeah, I would just love to just dive into, how is your archetypes unknowingly sabotaging your business? And we'll just go around in the same order again.
So for me, I actually have this really interesting story because I've spent a lot of time reflecting on something that happened to me. As a maverick, I invite in a lot of money very quickly. So I'll take a risky move and then I'll get all this money. And what I noticed is that across the years, I would sabotage that because I grew up, my family is Indian. So my parents immigrated from India to the US. And so many Indian families, we know this in our community, it's all about the accumulator life. It's all about do this first, live very frugally, do the thing, and then years down the road, you can enjoy. So I grew up with that mentality, but I have this ability to do bold and risky things and get all this money. But with that belief in the background, when I was 23 years old, I bought my first home. And nobody in my community or circle of friends was doing that because we had just graduated, we were just starting out, but I knew that the market was going to take off. And I decided if I can just save $10,000, I will get a house. So I did it. And a year later, the market went crazy and I sold the home and made a profit of $165,000, which was unbelievable. I'm 24 years old. I've made all this money. And you know what happened? I totally sabotaged myself I put the money away and I said, I'll save it for another time. But I ended up then moving into a home that I hated. It was this dark 2-bedroom condo. I thought I would be there for a year or so. It was so depressing to live there. It was like such a dark time in my life. And I felt like I couldn't access the money that I had made. I felt like I couldn't have that money. And what's really interesting is that money sort of bled out through different ways. It just kind of went away. And I never got to enjoy that, oh, I made this money, let me reinvest it in something, because my maverick probably could have made $1 million from it or done something. But I have this pattern of the money comes in and then I'm like, oh, no, that's not how life works. It's got to be slow and steady wins the race. And so I do this expansion contraction thing a lot. And so I've spent years, now I'm 42. So I'm talking about almost 20 years ago. I've really tried to move out of that to hold the energy of my ability to bring in big chunks of money and not let my accumulator come in the way of that and my upbringing. So that I see is my sabotage pattern, just the expansion constriction over and over.
Hearing that acceptance, because the shame, that I think a few of you have touched on of going, I'm not allowed to be who I am. I'm not allowed to be this lucky, and second guessing that ability. Anyone can answer this one. I wrote my first book, Lucky Bitch, because that's what my friends were calling me. They were like, oh, you're such a lucky bitch. But even hearing that from a young age of going, oh, you think you're so good, or you think that, rules don't apply to you. It was kind of that feedback of going, to second guess it. You know, as a kid, you kind of believe in that magic. And then people tell you, hang on, not everyone's like this, or it's going to run out. And, you know, you might have been called a flake. You might have been called a lucky bitch like me. Were there anyone can answer this one? Were there any nicknames that you had as a kid, or things that you were teased about for this magical ability that made you second guess it, whether it's shame from other people or just that shame from yourself of going, oh, I shouldn't do this?
You know, what's really interesting is I haven't actually had a lot of overt negative feedback. I feel like the shame has almost come internally. So even from a really young age, I've just been very lovable and charming. Let me just say it. And, you know, my parents were like, you can do anything you want. Teachers would always say, you're so special. I was friends with everybody in the class. And I'm just, you know, I'm a social butterfly. So it wasn't ever that anybody shamed me overtly, but I've always known I'm special. I have no issues with that, but I've put a ceiling on myself. And I don't know where this came from, but I always want things to be equal. So when I would see that other people weren't getting the same opportunities, or even now as an adult, like, you know, people will say, God, Shazia, your life, it's just you. And I'm like, it's not just me. You can have it too. And I genuinely want other women to have this. This is why I do what I do. I sometimes still find myself in feeling either that I need to be humble or don't be too much. And I find that I shrink myself because I don't want to make somebody feel bad. I'm preemptively not allowing the shame to come in. So something Anna was saying earlier that I really resonated with is that as a maverick, just being myself is the secret. But I feel bad that it could be that easy to be myself when I see that it's not easy for others. So there's some strange, like, everything's got to be even situation happening. And there's almost a layer of shame in that too. Like sometimes I feel bad, but I kind of don't feel bad either. Like I just want to live full out without that layer hanging over my head.
Which I know you know. I know you know it is. It just strikes me though, I think we're so lucky to be alive in this time, because there's no doubt our personalities, we would have, you know, been witches for sure, being named as witches, because that ability to manifest is incredible, but it also scares people, you know, and it threatens the patriarchy in lots of ways, because it's that independence that we so crave, you know, and that freedom. Yeah, go for it, Shazia. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I just what's coming up as you all have been sharing too, the overcompensating, and then also I would totally be burned at the stake in another lifetime for sure. One of the things I know that I really overcompensated for is I'm a brown girl in the US, and I grew up in a very white town. And growing up, I always wanted to make it. I wanted to have a seat at the table. I'm a ruler too, so I'm ambitious. And I would say all the way probably until my mid 30s, that's what I wanted. I wanted to make it. I wanted to prove myself so that I could be seen as just as powerful as all the other white men that kind of get there so easily. And I had this shift within myself where I was like, actually, like, I've reached kind of the on paper success, but it wasn't fulfilling. And what I really shifted into, and this is where I see my true maverick coming forth, is that my shift is that I just live in delight. And for a woman to live in delight and a woman of color to live in pure delight is a revolution. And if that's what we can do, like, damn, like, that's amazing. That's what I want. I don't need a seat at the table anymore. And then I thought, I'm just going to create my own table. And I'm like, forget it. Why are we going to sit at a table? Like, let's go enjoy ourselves and like go like jump out of a plane or enjoy a nice spa. And, you know, now I actually do these VIP days with clients. But my point is that my maverick being able to just enjoy truly, like, that's fulfilling. And if women could just do that, I mean, Like that would really make me happy instead of our have to slog away and do this or the patriarchy and all the other things. I'm like, let's just let's enjoy. I mean, that's just not even allowed, it seems, in across many places.
So I just want to pivot to, there's a question I've been asking each group, as I alluded to before, about what makes you excited to join a program or a course and what turns you off?
Okay, so I actually look at the person. So Denise, anything you put out, just, I should give you my credit card number to have on file. Just swipe it, okay? I'm in. So, and you are the only person I would say that about. And I just want to acknowledge that about you, because I've seen a lot of people over the years. I've been in the industry now since 2014, like in this personal growth space. And to like really find people who are consistent and walking their walk and just really genuine, I really look for that. And that, if I feel that with someone, then I'm in all the way. You add that sales button, I'm in. On the flip side, what I will tell you, this is such a secret. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys such a big secret. So one of the things that I'll do sometimes somebody will tell me about somebody and they'll be like, oh my God, you have to follow this person. They're so amazing. Well, I do really care about people, how they actually are as real people. And one of the things that matters to me is just justice in general. And in the US, racial justice is important. And of course, we can have different ideas. We can be on different parts of the spectrum. But one of the things I'll do is when I follow somebody new or I look at them, I scroll all the way back to 2020 summer and I see, did they do the blackout square? Okay. And I know it's just a square, but I want to see, like, did they care enough? Is there anything in that time that can give me an indication of what they believe? Because it does matter. And I'm going to buy with my dollars. Now, I'm not somebody at the protest. I'm not that person, but am I paying attention? Absolutely. I'm paying attention. So for me, it's about the person that I'm buying from. And if they don't have anything, it's kind of neutral. If they have things that I'm like, whoa, I can't even believe you're saying that, they're off. But if I see that somebody has something and I love what they're teaching, I love who they are, then I'm in, you know, and if it makes sense for what I need at the time, of course. So it's really interesting because nurture and connector are really, really low in my archetypes. And yet this is what matters to me in purchasing. So, and I think it's part of the maverick too. Oh, good. Okay. I was like, you guys are going to know my secret. But also as a maverick, I do really believe in wanting, like I shared earlier, the revolution for women to enjoy. I care about people like having equality and whatever that looks like. So whoever I purchase from, yeah, I'm going to buy with my dollars.
I would love to hear actually about your combination of archetypes and how that shows up for you, because what I see sometimes is that some combinations really supercharge like the good stuff, you know, and like, it's like, oh, well, I've got this and this, and so I'm unstoppable. But some of those things cancel each other out, and some of the things amplify your sabotages. And so, you know, I would love to hear if you have any awareness around that, of how that is showing up for you, or if there's even just like you're kind of ignoring some of your archetypes and you're suppressing them.
Yeah, so maverick, ruler, accumulator. Oh my God. Okay, first of all, I am a powerhouse. I mean, that is a powerhouse combination. So my powerhouseness, yeah, I'm getting stuff done. If I walk into a room, you know, like it's all good on paper. It's good in so many ways. But it's never enough. It's never enough. Never. And my accumulator drives me bonkers. My accumulator is never happy. I mean, how much more money do I need to have in the bank account? How much more does my retirement need to be set? How much more for it to be enough? But it's never enough. And then my maverick loves to do like big, wild things. Like I bought my Tesla last year in cash. And then I had nothing left in my account, which my maverick is fine with that. But my accumulator was like, we're going to die now. We will literally die. And that energy is so exhausting. It's so exhausting. And I want to just enjoy my stuff. I want to enjoy my success. So there's a part of me that's like, I just want to enjoy in life, but my accumulator will not let me. And my maverick and accumulator are always at odds. And then my ruler's constantly like, well, you're not there yet. So stop even talking because you have more stuff to do. So it's a hot mess express, but on the outside, I look amazing. I guess I wouldn't call them affirmations, but yeah, I guess they are. I just tell myself, I'm like, I'm enough. Like I'll just tell myself throughout the day. And I try to pause a lot in gratitude. Like I just try to pause and be like, wow, like 2 weeks ago, I created a nonprofit. I didn't even plan to. And like, but it's made me happy and I felt productive and full and now it's something else. But I've really stopped to say, okay, but what am I feeling full about? What am I grateful for? And like just sitting in it and saying, I am enough. And then when I do that, then I'm okay until one of the other voices comes back in. So I found a balance, but I'd love to have it more often. And is there ever a point where I will feel the overflow? Because I'd like to feel overflow, but is it just not going to happen for me no matter what?
I don't know, but I would say, Oprah is a ruler, I would say, right? And I've seen her talk about gratitude for years, and she just says that is one of the practices that she does every single day, because I imagine that's a problem for her too. Like there's always more, and I remember when she retired her show and she said, now I'm going to travel because I've never traveled before. I just literally had to tape 2 shows a day my whole life for the last 30, 25 years or whatever. And I just thought, wow, richest woman in the world. And she's still like, there's not enough time for me to, I've got to work. And I really, I resonate with that. But also I think that she has created a bit more of that spaciousness to enjoy her garden and you're a prolific creator and idea person. And that's never going to change. I don't know. I don't think we're ever going to be like, I'll stop and smell the roses, because it's hard, because you go, yeah, I could monetize that rose. What can I do? What can I do with you? And even I noticed myself on holidays going, wow, it's really hard for me to sit and read. Oh, I should write a blog post about how it's really hard for me to live in the moment. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to enjoy the moment for myself. Hang on, I should write a blog post about how good I was to enjoy the moment for myself and not do a blog post about it. I was just trapped in this cycle of how can I create value out of this for someone else? But that's what makes us amazing at business.
Yeah. You got to love all parts of it. Yeah. I've just been trying to sit with that. It's enough. I'm good. If I'm in productivity, I'm going to enjoy it. And if I'm not, I'm going to be okay with it too. It's so much, I think, that self-talk of like, I'm good in all the ways, not shaming one or the other.
Love to hear, and I'm sure our Europeans probably need to go as well, but just to finish off, and I'm happy to stay a little bit longer, I don't have a meeting for half an hour, but because I want to hear so much more about you guys. You're all so fascinating. And but I would love just to tick off my little bits. What message would you have for someone who's thinking about joining SMA?
So SMA, I've listened to it now 3 to 4 times. And I really love going back and listening because there's always a new nugget I pick up about myself. So I will listen to Maverick, Ruler, and Accumulator. And it really helps me to either see where I might be sabotaging myself or, what I get to look out for. Or I'll just hear a nugget of like, oh, like, I think last time I was listening and you had said something about Mavericks, just like making up whatever you want to do for your business. And I was like, yeah, I love that. Like, who said I have to do XYZ? So for me, SMA has been such a nice way to round out Money Bootcamp because I'm really learning about myself and how to dig in deeper. And there's always layers, and I think you talk about this too, Denise, there's always more layers. So I like it as a resource to just go back to and pull out the next nugget that I'm ready to hear and implement in my life.
does anyone have anything they want to add or ask, or just an aha, a smaha that they want to share?
I think it's been really cool to just see how we're so similar and then also different, like just from this call. And I love that because we're mostly mavericks. And yet, like, Alchemist is so low on mine, but Catherine, so many things you've been saying, I'm like, oh, like I really, really resonate with that too. And so it's helped to expand my understanding. So I love that this next round of SMA sounds like it's going to have like more of this, like people's actual experiences. That really enriches things. Is that a word? It enriches things for me. And I loved hearing the different combos. That was really cool because sometimes I just think everybody's like me. Everyone else must be, you know, maverick, ruler, accumulator too. And in this weird funky convo, like you said, everything is always like, I'm going to write about this, like this moment right now that's so deep. I can't wait to share it. And then I'm out of the moment. So I thought everybody was like that. But again, each of you sharing has been like, oh, we're similar and yet so unique too. And I love that. I love hearing people's stories, and then it helps me to understand myself too. So that's been a big aha today.
So, are you a ruler, a connector, or a maverick? Hang on, maybe you're more of a romantic or a celebrity. Take the money personality quiz right now and find out which of the 8 money archetypes you are. And then I'm going to teach you how to profit from your strengths and make money in your business based on your natural personality. Click below and find out more.